So here's the thing about starting a new year. It feels wide open, like a fresh blank canvas full of potential. And I find that anticipation of beginning something new is incredibly motivating. I know many of you feel that same spark when a new project calls. For me, art has always been about challenging myself. I sculpt, I paint, I create with my hands, and I love it. And if you've ever dived into a creative project, you understand that the work we do isn't easy. It takes years of practice for us to feel like we're making genuine progress. Lately, though, I started feeling a bit rusty. I poured my heart and soul into getting the studio ready, and as I worked, my mind drifted, imagining the amazing paintings and sculptures I would create. But while away from the easel, I felt strangely disconnected from my art, and I couldn't shake the feeling that time was slipping away. I wanted to make a space where I could create freely, a place where I could honestly explore. And Rick Rubin's words, they really resonated with me. He said, create an environment where you can express what you're afraid to express. And I was eager to dive back into painting, but oddly enough, I found myself stuck. It wasn't a shortage of ideas. There were plenty of projects waiting for me, but I craved something lighter, something that felt less like work and more like play. Then the universe stepped in, or maybe it was Instagram, but I came across Bryce Liston's Patreon page, and among his curated reference packs, I saw a photograph of a model I've worked with many times before. I've always admired Bryce's striking work, and that image, with its captivating mood and composition, it was begging to be reimagined. Yet, there was a small sting in the back of my mind saying, you didn't take that picture. It isn't your setup. The lighting, the pose, the composition, it was all somebody else's vision. And that doubt echoed in my head. And yet, there's this challenge of taking it and making it my own. So I pulled out an old forgotten painting, one I'd started during a live drawing session years ago, and it had been collecting dust in the corner. Its surface was rough and uneven, like an old memory I'd outgrown. I decided to sand it down and repurpose the panel. That act felt symbolic. It was like wiping away the noise of the past to create a clean slate. And maybe you've experienced that exhilarating moment of letting go of expectations to try something new. And as I began the new painting, I wasn't chasing perfection. Instead, I let each brushstroke flow one into the next, focusing on the movement and the story, and letting it unfold on the canvas. So here's the thing that no one tells you about making art. You're always wondering where it will end up. Will it find a place to live, a wall to hang on, or maybe end up in a gallery or a museum? Or maybe I'll just keep it here with me as a quiet lesson tucked away. Each painting is a reminder that every day is a gift, and every new project is an opportunity to breathe life into an idea, whether you're dancing or singing or sculpting or painting. Our creative skills are perishable, and we really need to cherish every moment because we don't have as much time as we think. And working on this painting, it really took me back. It took me back to countless life drawing and sculpting sessions. There's a quiet intensity mixed with bravery and anticipation of trying to recreate what you see in front of you and transform the moment into something timeless. And while the layers of paint dried, I shifted my focus to something equally important, and that was to create a frame that both complements and protects the artwork. The bonded aluminum panel it's really heavier than you might expect, so the frame needs to be strong and durable. I chose teak, not only for its rich, warm color, but also for its character, its strength, and its deep golden hues and fine grain naturally enhance the painting's tones. So as I worked on the frame, I realized that it isn't just a border, it's an extension of the painting itself. And to give it an old world elegance, I decided to use the delicate technique of water gilding with 24 karat gold leaf. I know many of us have faced the temptation to overwork a piece. Learning when to stop is honestly one of the toughest lessons. And even this was my first time gilding a frame like this. And every step was a careful balance between craftsmanship and artistry. And watching it all come together was one of the most rewarding parts of the process. You know, in our fast-paced world, working deliberately can feel like sailing against the wind. But choosing to create means embracing the challenge and setting aside fear and letting inspiration unfold really in its own time. Pressure to keep pace is relentless. Yet art isn't a race, it's a journey that demands patience and persistence and trust. So let's create while the candle is still burning and while the glow is warm and while the vision is clear. Even as I put the final touches on this piece, I already feel the pull of a new project. And if you have any questions about how I work or the materials I use, drop them in the comments. I'd love to keep the conversation going.